Hello everyone, I am Brianna. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is homeschool related, specifically to Challenge A in classical conversations. I have a son who is starting Challenge A on Monday. That's his first class. So actually today we are doing lesson 1. But specifically for this video, I want to show you how we tabbed the Latin books. There are just so many ways that you can tab a book, and getting everyone's opinions just makes your head kind of spin. There are some people who don't tab their books at all. And then there are just different ways to tab. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos, asked around to friends or previous directors. But ultimately I landed on this way of doing it, and it was from a woman on YouTube. I will link her video below so that you can go watch that too. I don't want to take the credit for this because it was all her. But I asked my son if this made sense to him, and he said, yes, let's do it. So I let him pick out all of the colored tabs and in the order, like what color goes where, so that he kind of has ownership of this book too. It's not just me saying, okay, here's your books and I did the tabbing for you. So he kind of has an understanding as well. Okay, so let me flip you around. I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did, and I hope that it helps you. All right, here are the two books that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Purple Henley Latin First Year and then the Henley Latin Grammar. Let's look at the purple one first, since that seems the most intimidating. It has the most tabs. Actually, does it? Yeah, they're probably about the same. So the system that I have here looks super complicated, but it is actually so simple once you get the hang of it. I knew that I wanted all of the lesson numbers on the top. That way it is easy for me to just flip to the lesson and figure out what it is. Now, there's not much figuring out to this method because all I'm doing is following the contents. I put lesson 1, so let's flip to lesson 1, and that is going to be on page 6. Okay, so I tabbed it here. Lesson 1 is all about the first declensions. So then I tabbed on this side and I wrote first declension. Okay, and then lesson 2 is about second declensions. Lesson 3, third declension. Lesson 4, fourth declension. And lesson 5, fifth declension. Okay, so that is super simple, going through all of the lessons and what they're about. This is pretty much what the whole book is like. All I'm doing is just tabbing the lesson and then on the side writing what that lesson is about. So lesson 6 is about nouns. Okay, lesson 7, we have adjectives and the first and second declension. So there's going to be 2 tabs on these pages, one on the top and then one on the side. So if you keep going, lesson 8, adjectives, third declension. So lesson 9, first conjugation principal parts. Okay, so it keeps just going. And then sometimes, look at this one had a lot to write, so I just wrote it on the whole tab, not just up on the portion that you're supposed to write on. Now let me flip back, because did you see how there is this yellow tab in between lesson 8 and lesson 9? Well, that is going to be the master review vocabulary number 1. So this is the first vocab review. Now I went ahead and tabbed all of the vocabulary reviews in the book, even though we don't use this whole book in Challenge A, but I went ahead and did that anyways. Okay, so let me just keep flipping. Lesson 11, personal pronouns. Lesson 12, we have third conjugation present system active. Lesson 13, basically all you're doing this whole time is putting the lesson on the top and what the lesson is about on the side. Okay, so then you can just clearly see the lesson and clearly see what it is about. Oh no, this one stuck. Funny. Okay. So then when we go to the way back, I have some red tabs, and all that is tabbing the Latin to English vocabulary and then the English to Latin vocabulary. And that's just so that we can find it quickly if we need to flip back there. I'm not trying to look in my table of contents and I'm like, oh no, where did those go? And then look for the page number and then flip back here. So everything is tabbed. I hope this is going to be a good system, like a good way to tab the book. I mean, time will tell. Who knows? With all of the things that I've tabbed and how I've set everything up for challenge, it could all change mid-year. I don't know. I've never been through challenge before, so I am just so new at this. So that, once it's broken down, to me seems so much easier to grasp how to tab a Latin book. Now, this grammar book is the exact same, you guys. I look at the table of contents. So I just go ahead and write what the main parts are for each section. Now, I went ahead and did nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and pronouns up the top. And then down the side, I did verbs and then active, passive, and irregular, okay? Now, once we get to part 2, I went ahead and changed another color and tabbed down the side for that. I know it was helpful for me to see page numbers and what is written. So on here, I have main clauses on page 89, and then went ahead and did subordinate clauses, adverbial clauses, adjective clauses, and then noun cases. And then I switched the tab color again, and I have nominative, genitive, okay, the dative, the accusative, the ablative, and then I did another one here. We have a section for pronouns, adjectives, verbal nouns, and adjectives, okay? I went ahead and tabbed rules for place and rules for time. And then up on the top back here, prepositions, diagramming, and pronunciation. And that's all that I tabbed here. Now, obviously, there are some parts that you could really go into detail and tab. Well, I hope that I explained that well enough. This made the most sense to me. And I hope that I took a little bit of stress out of prepping for Challenge A, because once I was done with this, I was so relieved. It was also really neat to see that we're only using a small portion of this book. So when you get this Latin book, you're like, oh my goodness, it's so big. But you're only using, what is it, the first 15 lessons. So it seems like it's a little bit more doable for Challenge A. Another tip that I want to give you guys is to have your book spiral bound. They did not stay open when it had the original binding, but with the spiral, you could just flip it to one side or have it laying flat. To tell you though, the major office supply places wouldn't do it for us. They said that it was going to be too close to the wording and could cut it off. So we just went to like a local off-brand, if you want to say, place, and they did it for me. All right, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Please comment below, and I will try to help you. We're all learning and in this together with Challenge A. It is something so new after leaving foundations and essentials. And if we can all help each other out, like that's the main goal. Well, happy planning, and I will see you all on my next video. Bye, you guys.